do any marketing stuff, I have run my infrastructure. I have 2 servers. It's a quite fresh servers. They are up and running for 3 days, but are clean. I have removed all the stuff from the tests. So let's say it's a clean environment. This web app, it's a fully clean web application on Azure. Okay, and our code. The first thing is that we need to use the same code on web apps that on Linux. No differences. Because if you have differences between platform as a service or infrastructure as a service to deploy, you need 2 teams to do it. Because companies are working that way. So I have one repository for it. It's a private repository on GitHub. I will probably publish it as a public repository after our session. So I will clone it locally. Do you see? What is going now on? It is too small for you. Okay. Okay, I have cloned my repository. I will get to my web app. As you see, there is no continuous deployment here configured. I have FTP access. Forget about FTP. It's a piece of you know what, yeah? It should die years ago, but for some reason it's still living. Deployment source. I will create local repository for this application. I could deploy just from GitHub, yeah, but I want to create local repository to show you what is going on Azure when you are pushing the code. So it's possible only on local Git repository. Okay, it's here. And it's done. Okay, let's see what we have here. It's just Python 2.7.8. If you are wondering if it will be updated to 2.7.10 or 11, yes, it will be. Maybe in 3 next month, so this summer. 2.7.8 has a big problem with SSL. So if you are running Python code on Azure Web Apps, use Python 3. Because this 2.7.8 is unsecure and you shouldn't use it. Okay, so what's next? Let's do some magic. I will get my code. As you see here, it's a code from GitHub and paste it here. I'm using Linux, as you see, so. I'm committing changes and push. Okay, I must hurry. What is going on? The script on Azure, it's a batch script on Azure, is creating virtual environment for me. I have file I will show you in my code that I'm saying I want Python 2.7 to deploy. it seemed that file and creating virtual environment for Python 2.7. Why virtual environment? Azure is a public cloud. So if you want to run your own application, you need your own sandbox, let's say, where you can get your own packages for Python and so on and so on. And install requirements. Those of you who are using Python know that when you are deploying Python application, Python script, you can download automatically the dependencies you are using. So libraries, like in .NET, like in any other language. Azure is installing my dependencies automatically during the deployment. Of course, at the next push, when I will do some changes in code, it will check if there is newest version of this library and get it automatically. Of course, I can froze the version of libraries I want to use. Okay, I was talking about, I don't know, 15 seconds, maybe half of a minute, and we are done. Probably it will work. As you see, it is deploying on portal. Okay, it should work. 3 days ago it works. Yeah, it's my web app. It's a hello world to you. Nothing all. I'm not the front-end developer, so it's almost the highest level of my front-end skills. And it's all. Yeah. If you're a developer, if you have developers in your team, you can create the Azure account for him, her, and he or her can just create the code and push into the repository. It's fun. It's great. Let's see how it will work on the Linux. I will not do it step by step. It's not a Linux presentation. I will use Ansible. Do you know Ansible? Who knows Ansible? It's automation tool for doing stuff on servers via SSH, even on Linuxes and Windows servers. So I can log in to my server, install one stuff second and configure it and so on and so on. It's okay if you have 2 servers. It's not okay if you have 10,000 of servers. Yeah? So Ansible, it's a fine thing to do some stuff. What I will do with Ansible. First, my hosts. I will show you next why I'm putting here the Python test as hosts. It tells Ansible when to knock to do some stuff. Who am I? My user is Michael. I'm connecting with SSH keys with no passwords. Become. Yes, I must become sudo user, so the administrator, to install packages. And the tasks. I will create var app directory for my application. It must lay somewhere. Then I will get code directly from Git repository, from GitHub. You can create your own repository, it can be a repository on your office, and so on and so on. Probably it can use some other code versioning systems. I don't know, I'm using Git. Then install Python requirements from requirements.txt as the Azure Web Apps script done before. So it's the same thing. And then I'm copying the configurations for application server and for web server. It's not a platform as a service, it's an infrastructure as a service, so I must configure web server and application server by my own. I'm doing it with Ansible, so it's a maybe half a platform as a service. Yeah, if I'm a DevOps, you must create this by your own, or search in Google and pray if it will work. Yeah. And next, I'm restarting Python test service. I will show you what is it, and NGINX service. As you see, I will run Python application as a system service. It will be not standalone application running from manual works, but it will work with virtual machine. So if I will restart virtual machine, it will automatically run up after the booting process. Okay. Let's see my machines. Of course, I will use two virtual machines because of service level agreements. Yeah. To get 99 per 95% SLA in Azure, you must use at least two machines bonded in availability set. Oh. So when the Azure will be updated under the hood, both machines will never be updated at the same time. If they have no single point of failure, so if internet or power will fail on the first server, the second server will be up and running. So let's see. The first machine I wish to show you just IPs. Is the first server 137 whatever, and the second server 40 whatever something. And etc Ansible hosts, I'm declaring the group of servers on which I will work. As you remember, Python test hosts in my script are those both two servers in Azure here. So I will do it. It's similar, parallel on two servers without need to log in to both. Okay. Python test Ansible. I have the file you seen here. So Ansible playbook, Python test, YAML. Yet another meta language. YAML. Good name for language. Okay, directory wasn't exist, so it is changed. It creates the directory. Git pull changed, copy configs, restart Python service, and restart NGINX. It's much quicker than Azure Web Apps mechanism but you must do it by yourself. So something different. Let's see what is happening on the servers. Let's get IP of the first one. They are similar, so I will show you on the first. Yeah, demonstration. There is some troll sitting there and slowing it down if you are doing presentation on the conference. So okay, I have it here. Okay, let's see what is happening. I have one NGINX process. NGINX is a web server like IIS. One process and one worker, remember. And I should have, oh, here it's 2024, so okay. Unicorn is a Python application server. If you are running Python code, like PHP code, you need an application server talking to the web server on the Unix socket or TCP port internally on the server. It's the same way how you are using it on Windows Server. Totally the same way. I'm using Unicorn. It doesn't matter what application server you are using. If you are doing the demo, yeah, on the production, you must choose the best for you. Okay, as you saw, there was one process for NGINX and one process for Unicorn. We have one core here, yeah, so probably it's the best configuration. One core, one process. And how does it look on the web app? As you see, it's a standard, one standard VM beneath this application. Small, so we have, I will show you. I'll scale up. It's a S1, so we have one core and 1.75 gigabytes of RAM. It's the same kind of virtual machine beneath my Linux and beneath this web application. Here we have Windows Server. On my Linux application, we have, of course, Linux. It's Ubuntu server, those Linux I have showed you. So on infrastructure, we have the same situation. On the code, we have the same situation. It's the same code deployed on Windows Server and Linux. We have, oh, I wanted to show you something. No, tools. We have Process Explorer here in the portal. It's a very useful thing. We have one process for W3WP. It's an IIS process for websites. You will see later, right after I'm done with speaking right now, you will see that there will be Python process here when I run some load testing for this application. One and the only process. So one process per application on web apps and one Python process per application. You cannot change it. Even if you have 2 cores on 4 cores, you cannot change it. So your application cannot be parallel at the level of web server on web application. It must be parallel at the level of the code. Yeah, it's good and it's not good. It depends on point of view. Yeah. So let's see what is happening when we put some. We should check if our Linux deployment is working. Yeah. We have some DNS name for it, and let's say it works. Hello world. Okay. We need some traffic for this site. Here I'm logged in on my VPS machine in OVH. It's not an Azure machine. I'm here, I think, in France, probably. Do you know the tool names Locust? No, you will use it after my presentation. I will check if the address is right. Python test app, Azure websites net. Python test web app, Azure websites net. It's a Python code also. It is running some web service on my VPS in France on port 8089. Let's see what is this. Yeah, Locust Swarm. Let's simulate 100 users with hash rate of 10. So every second 10 new users will be running. The 100 of users is knocking to my application. I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, something wrong. Yeah, not this address. Yeah. And once again, 100, 10. You can put tens of thousands from one VPS, so you know what I mean. Okay, it's running. You can test your competitors' websites like this. It's pretty fun. They are disappearing from internet. What's happening? We have 14 requests per second, maximum of 78 milliseconds per request. It's just asking the server. It's not rendering the website. Yeah, so it's just a request for the web server. Now we have 2 to 3 milliseconds maximum. Of course, the median is the most valuable of this metrics. We will wait. Trust me, we must wait some time. It's a typical traffic, I think. 14 second requests per second, typical for blogs about cats, or maybe. Oh, 10 seconds after something about 794 requests. 9 seconds, it's a lot for hello world, yeah? There is no load almost, trust me. I can show you. But 15 seconds, I think... Oh, it's a topic of my speech. Let me say something. Okay, so we have almost 10 seconds, but the median is still 24 milliseconds. Yeah, so what the heck? Yeah. Let's see how it works on Linux server. Yeah, I'm a Linux guy. What do you think? It's not a hate, yeah, to be clear. It's just technology. $110. Higher median, higher max. Strange. Oh, lower. Okay. It's warming, and now it's reset. Okay. So we have the same number of requests per second, the same median. Yeah, so it works in the same way. It's the same code, so I'm not surprised that it's the same metrics. Let's see the maximum and let's see the requests. 790 on web apps, something like that. There is no trolls there, I think. Okay, so we have 1,000. Nothing is happening for my application. Do anyone know what's happened on web apps here? Because if you are IIS professional, you should know what have been done. No? Who is IIS professional here? Don't be shy. It was my client's real life problem, what I'm showing you. And 2 weeks of work because of something. Of course, it will be conclusion of my speech. Okay, my code. It's not only a hello world, of course. Application pie. It's doing something beneath the hello world. It's logging. It's logging the load up text anytime the app is started or started. Just load up in the log if application will start. And it's our web app. Logs, not log. I have put some traffic to my web app. Yeah. Not so much, 1,000 requests. It's nothing on production. Let's count the restarts of the web app on Azure. It's silly, yes? Why? Why it is restarting during the normal traffic? I haven't restarted this application during this thing, yeah? Let's see on Linux. One start, there was no restarts. Yeah, the same code, the same traffic. If you correlate the time of the 9-second response to the request we saw on the test, it will probably match one of those logs. Because restarted application can, for some reason, respond in longer time than working application. Yes, it's a IIS typical thing, or NGINX on Apache. It doesn't matter. Restarted application can work in other way than working application. It's obvious. So, do anyone know why? Do anyone have deployed PHP application on IIS? Anyone? No? It's not application on IIS? And you don't know why? What? It's not a memory. Let's see 2 things. We are on Azure. And this is Python. How the Python is running on IIS, on Azure, and probably everywhere on IIS. Do you know FastCGI server? FastCGI. It's a application server for PHP, Python, Ruby, I think, Go, if I remember correctly. So it's an application server. Almost there. Do you know Kudu console? If we have application on Azure, get with SL and add SCM after the name of the application, we are getting to the Kudu console. You can check environment here. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff you can use with your web application. If you doesn't know it, just check it. It's a free of charge, and you can deploy it on Windows Server, I think. It's on GitHub, it's fully open source. I will get to command line. Do you know that Windows command line can use Linux commands? Cool. After 25 years. Oh no, from 1991. So okay. Let's see. Configuration. You are the IIS guys and women, so you probably know better what I'm doing right now. It's application host config. Yeah, it's configuration for application pools in IIS. I was today on the other speech, so I'm a lot smarter right now. Of course, I'm just kidding because I have been debugging it for my client for 2 weeks. And it's funny because probably most of you, knowing the Python and administration of application, should do it in, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 5. So it's lack of documentation in Azure in Moistic. I'm searching for Python here. No, here. Those only 2 lines are configuring my environment for Python in Azure Web App. 2 lines. It's okay. Max instances, as we know, we can create more instances for application working on Azure. Okay, but there is no parameters at all for my application. It's working out of the box with default configuration of IIS. Do you know what is the default configuration for IIS and fast CGI? It is restarting every 600 requests, just because. 600. Yes, it's also time-based. I wanted to say it right now. And it is also restarting every 300 seconds. It's stupid. Yeah, 600 requests. Even my blog has more than 600 requests. Yeah, so I don't know why. And of course, it should be documented in Azure Web Apps documentation. Of course, it is not. Yeah. You are IIS professional, Windows Server professional. Of course, you know it. You know where to find it in IIS documentation. After this, that you will know if you are using IIS 6, 7, 7.5, 8.5 right now, I think, something like that. So there is many versions, many configurations, but you are Windows Server professional, so you know it. I'm the Linux guy. I have documentation of IIS, and I was searching for it, I don't know, probably 2 hours, because it's crappy documented. If you are pro, you know, because it's a lot of time you are spent on doing it. So, what should we do? We should change this file, yeah? Application host.config on your IIS, you can edit it in Visual Editor, if I know correctly. But this is Azure. You cannot edit this file because it's out of the box, it's a part of platform, and forget about editing it. But we have our application, we have our virtual environment, our site, and we need something small here. Of course, I have copy it. And it's my favorite part of it. Touch the Linux command. Yeah, you should know what it is. XDT. Yeah, it's file which will transform the application host file. Yeah, so you cannot edit it, but you can transform it. Probably for Microsoft guys, it's obvious. Yeah, I will edit. And copy this. Don't look. So, recycling. Let's disable this thing. I don't need recycling of my website. Probably if it will be some banking application or something more important, I will recycle it after the working hours of my company. Yeah, so okay, but at this point I will disable it. And this is the most important thing here. Do you see? Far away from the screen? Yeah. Max instances. I can create 2 processes of my application, or 4, or 5, or 10, how many I want to create. And instance max requests, here is 10,000, and it is maximum for Azure. Every 10,000 requests, it will restart. And we cannot jump over it. So, 10,000, it's a lot more than 600, yeah, so it's much better. Max instances, if you put 0 here, it will work automatically. Yeah, but we have on Linux just 1, so I will put 1 here and save this file. Now I need to restart my application. Because IIS must be reloaded. There is chance that it will be work. It's restarting. It has input lags, so let's see here, 5:36. Okay, so we have 11:36, 53 seconds. Let's put some load on it. Sometimes the swarming is laggy because of network. It's a lot of kilometers between the data centers. Yeah, it should be okay right now. Of course, it will be up and running over the 600, yeah, so. We have reached 600, so we know that it's still okay. 700, and so on. What is the main problem? The main problem is the knowledge exchange. It's not a technical problem at all, yeah, because you know what is happening, what is not working. Of course, I was giving you some tips, yeah, about this, but it should be better documented. We have a few minutes, so I can show you how it will work if we change something. It's the Linux with this application. And it's my system service with my application. As you see, my web server will look for my application on the socket, not TCP port. And there is not much configuration here, and it is one process. But let's do something. Oh, maybe two. It's just one core. Yeah? Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. As you see, I have now two instances of my application. I have one process of web server, NGINX, who is listening for my users from the internet. But I have two applications up and running beneath the web server. If my application is not prepared to parallel processing something, it's a good way, because you can run two applications beneath the web server. You can do it, of course, the same thing on Azure. We know how. You saw that, yeah. Just change here. In my opinion, it's very important configuration, yeah. It's different if you have one instance of your application or 10 instances of your application, yeah. So let's again restart our application. Okay. And the Process Explorer. It should show. Yeah, we have two instances of our application on web apps. Nothing strange, yeah, it's just configuration, it's just IIS, so it's a standard thing. The pretty thing I can do with Linux is this worker processes. It's a configuration line for NGINX, which is describing the number of NGINX workers under my application. So I have two instances of my application beneath, but I can run two or more instances of my web server. I have two NGINXs up and running on my server and two application servers. It's nothing personal to Azure because I love it, I'm working with it, but you cannot do this with Azure. It's the one and only point when Azure Web Apps is much worse than Linux machines. Much worse in architecture things, yes? But if you have one core on your web server or 4 cores on web app, you should not to run more processes than your infrastructure is able to handle. So without administrator, you have some boundaries for your free will. Yeah, as a developer or administrator or DevOps on Linux, you can crash everything you want to crash. Yeah, it's your server. You can do it all. So it is bad, maybe. It is okay, maybe. It depends of your on your position in company, if you are developer or administrator. Okay, we must go to the end with my presentation. If you have some questions, go on. I will show you one more thing, which is not directly under my topic. Not this. But this. If you are Python developers or your client is Python developer, you probably will work with Azure SDK. This code is something about 200 lines probably of code. I am creating the virtual network in Azure, network interfaces, storage, choosing the virtual machine image and compiling it all to the virtual machine. I can create within 200 lines of code the infrastructure for 200, 200,000, 2 million servers with 200 lines of code. So previously you saw the Python application which was working on Azure. The most important thing about public cloud Azure is that you can use Azure in your application, not only Azure to host application. So if I have my application on web app, which is saying hello world, it may be hello world. Maybe you want to start some Linux server with application hello world. Okay, just click here. I'm clicking and the Linux server is starting to create. And after 2-3 minutes, it's up and working aside of my application. So the case is not about the IIS is worse or better than NGINX and Linux. Just think about how to use it together, maybe. If you cannot run more than one IIS process on web apps, why I should not to run Linux server for it? With automation and all of this, probably I have virtual environment here. So yeah, It's running. I think we have 2 minutes to the end, or maybe 1 minute, so probably it will end with creation of virtual machine. Do you have some questions for me? Yeah. 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 I was trying, and it's 10,000 and nothing less, nothing more. It's hard to handle, but if you are remember about this, it's not a problem. Yeah, even on production. If you run 2 processes of Python, every process have 10,000 of hard limit. You have 20,000. So probably maybe one person will get 4 seconds of waiting. But in my client, at the time I have spotted this, had 30 seconds of delays. He have very heavy Python application. Yeah, so the application start plus the fastCGE restart, and it was awful. Yeah, but 10,000 for him is okay. So problem was gone. It's OAuth authentication. It's a cool thing because it's managed by Azure Active Directory. So we can do a lot of funny things with it. Application itself can be user in Azure Active Directory and running your new machines. Everything from Python. I know almost nothing about Active Directory, so it is well documented. And it is used on production also, code like this, in 2 companies I know. So in Python, yeah. In .NET, it's probably much easier to achieve. Yeah.
Wouldn't you skip the problem altogether if you, instead of using IIS, you just open the TCP port on Python and
Yeah.
serve the web content directly?
Yeah, of course. You can serve your application as an API, let's say. Yeah, so then you can fight with this problem. You can have few applications. Yeah, and then you have the limits multiplied by number of your limits. It's the same in Linux. Linux has also some limitations somewhere out there beneath many things, and you must remember about this. And scale out knows not scale out, scale up. Yeah, so it's okay. Sorry, we have new machine with this IP address. 2 minutes, maybe, probably. Yeah, 2 minutes because I must end. Yeah. So thank you very much. If you have some more questions, there is no problem. Just ask me. I'm here to Monday, so I can help you.